Hello there, vinyl community and YouTube. Last time I was nagging about songs that were very much I have listened to way too much, and this time I'm going to talk about records that I definitely haven't listened to way too much, because it's time to show what I've been buying recently. Vinyl and CD update for March. March has been another great month, finding a lot of interesting stuff, have a whole lot of CDs to show. So let's start. So this video won't take forever with to finally show some vinyl singles. Feels like an eternity since I bought some really interesting vinyl singles. Taka Boom, the sister of Chaka Khan, and a single called Night Dancin', and on the other side Cloud Dancer, some late 70s disco soul. 80s Thereza Bazar with the single The Big Kiss and Give Yourself Up on the other side. Thereza Bazar is, if I'm not wrong, the singer of Dollar. So it's interesting only for that, but this is also produced by Arif Mardin. The single is from 1985. It makes it even more interesting. A little Schlager from 1970, Swedish Schlager. Been showing this artist a couple of times before. Swedish Schlager artist Sylvia Vrethammar and På en öde ö, on a desert island, and on the other side the ljuva livet, good life. På en öde strand is a Swedish version of a Burt Bacharach song, Papier Mâché. And here we have the Beautiful South, who is the band that Paul Heaton from House Martins created right after that band disbanded in 1987. I like Paul Heaton's voice, and special voice. This is song A Little Time is from 1990. And also some Swedish heavy metal from the 80s. This is Swedish group Treat and You Got Me. And this actually is a single released before they had a breakthrough 1 year later. Not a big heavy metal fan, as everybody knows, but I like Treat a whole lot better than I actually like Europe. So it's very interesting to have. Now let's move on to a big stack of CD albums. Couple of collections first. This is a collection that left me puzzled from the beginning. Catching Up with Depeche Mode. This is, every Depeche fan out there realizes that it is the same front cover as they have on the single collection 81 to 85, and the back side looks also like from that album. But and this is a collection, but this Catching Up with Depeche Mode is an American release that they released only there, so the Americans could catch up with Depeche Mode's first albums. And this collection, the track still left me a little puzzled, as you can see here, because it misses a whole lot of singles. We don't have any Get the Balance Right, no Everything Counts, People Are People are not here. But instead we have a couple of B-sides. The B-side of Shake the Disease, the Cajun sounding song Flexible, and the B-side of is called The Heart, the first version of Fly on the Windscreen, that is more famous from the Black Celebration album. So even though I have it's not all of these songs. It's nothing new. It was still fun to have. Per Gessle from Roxette. Kung av Sand, en liten samling, 83 to 2007. Per Gessle from Roxette with some solos tracks, and this album is actually a very interesting collection because it contains a whole lot of previously unreleased tracks and odd releases. You're having a whole lot, some live tracks, special live songs, live versions of his famous songs, and songs from Gyllene Tider, also his band. No, from Roxette, even though Marie Fredriksson is singing here in an very early song. And we have some demo versions. We have some odd album tracks that haven't been on single. So this is definitely a odd and special collections, very fun to have. This is Swedish indie pop group This Perfect Day. This Perfect Day is from the north city of Skellefteå, and a band that I've liked almost from the beginning. And I've also seen them live, a great live band they were at the time. Unfortunately, they no longer exist. The band, that is. The members exist, I guess. This is their debut, Rubber Soul, from 1992. So I have several of the later albums, but this I was very interested in the debut. This was very, very special. This is one of the best findings this month. This is saxophone player, this is jazz music. Saxophone player Scott Hamilton, Scandinavian 5, live at the Nefertiti. Nefertiti is a jazz club anyway. This is containing both a CD and a DVD. This is a live recording, as it says, and a fantastic jazz album. Such a great live recording, really relaxing and fantastic jazz. And the DVD contains, of course, live recording also. Very, very great. They play so well together, and it also contains interviews with the band members, the DVD. And Scandinavian 5 is Scott Hamilton on tenor saxophone, but also Ulf Wakenius, Swedish guitar player, Jan Lundgren, Swedish piano player, Jesper Bodilsen, Danish bass player, and Christian Leth, Danish drummer. So this is a collaboration with American, Swedish and Danish jazz musicians with the live recordings, both on DVD and CD. Highly recommended. This one I was very disappointed at. This is Quincy Jones and a self-titled album from 1999. I've seen that this one has are also released with other covers. So I have no idea what kind of release this is. But the melodies, the music was very good, but the sound quality was horrible. It sounded like they've been recording it live from the other part of the stage. The sound quality was very, very bad. So I'm most likely not going to keep this one. I rather want to find a copy of it that has a better quality, because it is released also with a whole lot better quality. So I have no idea what I got here, but it was very, very bad sound. Prince, or The Symbol as it's called here, with Chaos and Disorder from 1996. I remember when I was broadcasting in community radio in 1996, I played several songs from this one. And when I was touring as a DJ against drunk driving in 1997, I also played some songs from this one. So it's a little nostalgia, even though I rather prefer Prince 80s and early 90s stuff. Uh, Bill Joel and the Ultimate Collection, a 2 CD set with his absolute best hits. You have Just the Way You Are, Still Rock and Roll to Me, Uptown Girl, River Dreams, We Didn't Start the Fire, Piano Man, you name it, on this great double CD collection. So we're going to start collect more Billy Joel, and this is great start nonetheless. This was a special finding. This is a Dutch techno band called Doop, and Doop was one of these artists in 1994 that mixed two different genres in one dance hit. You had the Grid and Rednecks, who mixed country and techno, and Doop mixed jazz and techno in their only bigger hit, also called Doop. Back in '94, I didn't like that song one bit, but it's grown on me through the years, and as you know, I'm a fan of obscure and strange stuff. So this album, Circus Dupe, I got interested in, and this could be really horrible, but this could also be really interesting and good. So it's going to be very interesting, and I like the cover sleeve with the real CD inside, and have also a board game here also that they have. This is very odd release, and believe it or not, right across in the ceiling, I bought myself a very new CD this month. I got it very cheap also, only $20, but it was sealed. It was not opened and not played. This is the latest album by Giorgio Moroder, Deja Vu, from 2015. I was little disappointed because a lot of these songs were in the modern house style that I am so fed up with, that I really don't like. But there are also a handful of great songs, and those are the 4 songs here that are instrumental, that really has a great production, a great beat, a great melody, and there also is a great single where they collaborate with Kylie Minogue, Right Here, Right Now, and an okay version of Susan Vega's Tom's Diner with Britney Spears as a singer. But otherwise are a whole lot of artists that I have no idea who they are. Mickey Echo, Matthew Coma, Foxes, Merlin. No idea who these are, but they are really bad. So I'm gonna keep it for now for the good songs. But what will happen when I do my next culling next year, have to see. Swedish singer Cornelia, who was the wife of Swedish soul king Eric Gadd, and the album No Dancing Queen from 2004. I have a previous album with her that I like very much, and Eric Gadd also is the producer here. So it's a very relaxed and laid back soul pop album that is very interesting. I felt like I wanted a compilation with Fleetwood Mac. I know that there are compilations that are far more bigger, containing their earlier and later stuff also. But I felt like I wanted this Greatest Hits album from 1988 with their best of their 70s and 80s only songs, because those were the period that I felt like Fleetwood Mac were at its best, actually. So it's a fun thing to have and listen to every now and then. And a soundtrack from a movie that I think is really good. I started to collect more and more these soundtracks that are new composed music, not those soundtracks that contains hits that are being played in a movie, but these special composed melodies for this movie. This is The Rock, Sean Connery and Nicolas Cage classic movie. Really like this action thriller very, very much. Seen it a couple of times. And then it's fun to have the music from that motion picture. And full-length vinyl. Starting with some 80s. Having Kenny Loggins, High Adventure, containing a hit single called Don't Fight It. This is from 1982, so it's going to be very interesting. American radio rock. However, I gotta say that this cover sleeve is definitely one of the more horrible that I have seen from professional artists in the 80s. Not the best sleeve, I might add. Hopefully the music is way better. This one I actually bought today. It's an album that I wanted to have for quite some time. Imagination, Body Talk, containing Just an Illusion. It's going to be very, very interesting. I like the sound of Just an Illusion. Hopefully that the rest of the album also will deliver. Here is an album that I bought this Thursday, and oh my god, what an album! Earth, Wind and Fire and the double LP Faces from 1980. Listened to this one yesterday, and it was a fantastic album. It's funky, fantastic horns, fantastic melodies, fantastic ballads. I don't think there are one bad spot on this album. It's definitely a fantastic, awesome album. I checked it out. This actually is Morris White's one of his favorite albums of the albums that Earth, Wind and Fire did. They asked him which album he thought was the best of all the albums that he did, and he said this one. And I can really understand why, because it is, of course, all in all, and I Am is of course in league of its own, but this one comes right after. More funky soul. This one was really fun to have. This is soul group The Whispers, and the beat goes on. And the interesting thing here is that both of these are compilations, but none of them contains songs that are on each other's. There are no songs that are on both albums, because this one is released in 1975 and contains their early 70s songs, and this one is from 1982 and contains only from their later 70s and till 1982, including In the Beat Goes On. So it's fun to have almost the entire Whisper hit catalog in 2 different albums. And always happy when I found Chicago, and so I did this month. Chicago 13 from 1979. Big hit here is Street Player, and some of you might remember the Bucketheads, The Bombs from 1995, who have borrowed from that song. Although I think, of course, Chicago version is better, way better. Great album. No, it's a really, really good album. It's not an album that feels like the most important or something special Chicago have made, but it's really good music. Nothing more, nothing less. So it's a out of 5, I give it 4. I think it's a really, really good Chicago album. Unlike this album that I was very disappointed at. Ace, Time for Another. Ace, How Long? But that song is not on this album. This is another album. And this contains a very young Paul Carrack singing. It's from 1975. But I like How Long. But this album was very, very boring. It was didn't do it wasn't bad, wasn't good. It didn't do me anything. It's shrug my shoulders. Okay, So I don't think that this one will stay in my collection, unfortunately. Jackson Browne lives in the Balance from 1986. Starting to collect more and more Jackson Browne albums. This one I've seen a couple of times, and I hesitated a bit since it is a very odd little special release. And I felt like I want to have Carole King's normal releases before I start to focus on odd releases. This is a Spanish release of fantasy called Fantasia, and from 1973. As you can see here, the titles are mainly said in Spanish. But I don't have fantasy, so I felt like, what am I doing? I want this album. I want a complete of Carole King's 70s albums. So, of course, I will buy it. I showed a Temptation in last update. I bought Masterpiece. Great album. Really great album. But I also found a Temptation from the 70s this month as well. House Party from 1975. This is also a really great album. Maybe one of the best Temptations albums that I have from the 70s. Highly recommended. And finally, a couple of Swedish albums. This is Swedish actress and musical artist Lena Dahlman. She had her peak in late 70s and the 80s. And here she sings songs by, and she also reads poets from Swedish poet Gustaf Fröding. And really relax with a lot of great relaxing ballads and poets. It's very suitable for summertime. And more poets and ballads by Swedish composer and balladeer Carl Anton. Visor på Överbyberg. And Överbyberg, if I'm not wrong, is in archipelags in Stockholm. So really relaxing and really soothing ballads in Swedish though. So with that, I hope you have enjoyed my walk through this month's findings. Great month, and next Saturday, April 2nd, it is Record Fair. So I will definitely, if not earlier, come back then to do a review of Record Fair. I know that Baraka P. Dub and me and Mr. Mayo have requested that they want to see some pictures from that Record Fair. I wish I could film it, but I can't. I have no film camera. But hopefully I will be able to, I will most likely be able to take some photographs from it. So until then, I hope that you all have a nice continuing of the weekend. And so long. Take care.